2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us.
My husband has a career with a lot of opportunity to act out. How do I keep my safety? Welcome to the Therapy Brothers podcast.
I'm Brannon.
I'm Tyler.
We're brothers.
We're therapists.
And we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery.
Hey, Tyler, you ready to have some hard conversations?
Let's do it.
Let the Therapy Brothers podcast begin. Hey, Tyler.
Brannon, how's it going, man?
It's been going good. How's life up there in Cache Valley?
It's great, man. We've had a couple forest fires with lots of smoke. Did you guys get that down by your place?
Oh my gosh, I'm so tired of the smoke. Like, give us the sun in the summer. We need the vitamin D.
I know.
We don't need smoke.
I try to soak in all the light I can before winter hits to try to get through the winter time.
It's depressing enough. We get the inversions with like the smog we're breathing in the winter, or the smoke in the summer.
Yeah, I know. And I'm usually pretty mad at like the people from like the West Coast. Like, they're the ones having all the fires the last couple of years.
Like, it's their fault.
Yeah, but this year it was actually our fault. Like, we had fires like right in our own backyard. So
yeah. Well, yeah, it just is life, I guess.
That's the way it works.
It makes for some good sunsets.
It really does, actually.
And the sun's back behind that smoke. It's like, wow, that's kind of pretty.
It's really beautiful. Yep.
Yeah, just don't go out jogging.
Interesting metaphor there, actually.
Hey, that's true. You could work with that one.
Well, let's jump into it. Should we, Brannon?
Do it.
All right. We've got Hannah here with us today. Hannah, thank you for coming and being willing to be a part of the show today.
Hello.
Glad you're with us. Would you just kind of introduce yourself a little bit, share whatever details might be helpful for me and Brannon to help you, and ask your question?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm like really nervous. I've never done this. So, so I'm Hannah. I've been married for 6 years. My husband and I have 2 kids and one on the way.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We're excited. It adds a whole layer to everything, but I'm really happy and excited. Typical marriage struggles, I guess. Husband has struggled with pornography forever. That's never been really a big problem in my mind. I've never really dealt with the betrayal trauma, but 4 years ago, he started kind of a virtual online relationship, emotional affair with an ex-girlfriend. I found out about it when our first child was about a year old. When I found out about it, he stopped all communication, promised that would never happen again. We actually ended up moving states, just trying to have a fresh start. fast forward 2 years after that, so this would be 2 years ago, he had a new job, and made friends with a coworker, kind of your typical story. And I didn't feel comfortable with it, but he assured me over and over it was, just friends. They just, had similar interests, and there was other friends that were part of this group, and that I had nothing to worry about. And he was a lot more open with his phone. So I just was like, you're just being anxious. You're just, stressing out about the wrong things. Don't worry about it. And found out completely on accident, that wasn't the case, that it was also very much an emotional and virtually relationship there as well. Sorry, I'm like not very eloquent with this because that's kind of the first time I'm like voicing a lot of this out.
You're fine, Hannah. You're doing good.
You're doing great. It's okay.
And we talked about it. Found out he claimed that he had stopped talking to her. He went and talked to our church leaders, try and work through it. Found out about 2 weeks later that they were still talking. At this point, he said it was just as friends. They didn't want to lose the friendship. I got really upset and, made him block her on everything in front of me, kind of deal. And so for the last 2 years, I've always felt that there was probably a little bit more. But he has sworn up and down for the last 2 years that there was nothing there. And I felt like we'd been making progress. I could tell that he was trying to be more emotionally available, that he was trying to open up and be more honest in certain things. If he had a relapse with pornography, he would be one to come talk to me. And I was always kind of like, okay, how can I help? Do you want my help? This kind of thing. And I felt like in these last 2 years, there had been a lot of progress. So all leads to now, my husband and I have talked a lot. And we felt pretty strongly that he needed to join the military. And so we went through that process. And the night before he left, we were talking about the 2 previous instances in which he, acted out. And he admitted that there was stuff that he had not told me with the second one. But he didn't want to tell me anything more in person. He told me he would send me a letter. So those 3 weeks of waiting for any sort of information were really rough, to say the least. But it did turn out that it had been more than just online. Sorry, I hate crying.
You're okay.
It's okay.
And I still don't know the extent of it because he only told me about one instance. But he had mentioned that there had been events. So, it's a really hard thing because there's a separation right now. So I can't ask follow-up questions. I can't get all the information. My brain is just kind of left to try and make sense of it all. But my question is about kind of how I can keep my sanity both right now until he's home in the next 6 weeks. And then after, because, like I said, he's in minimum 5 years in this job, which we'll be apart quite a bit. And I am choosing at this moment to stay because I do think that there is potential for us to, be strong and happy. I do think there's potential for healing with both of us. I don't want to throw out the last 2 years, even though there was still a lot hidden. But basically, how do I keep my sanity? How do I keep my security? And what boundaries do I place? What does that even look like if all of that makes sense? Because it's just kind of a lot all at once.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you just a couple questions. So you're separated because he's gone for the military, right?
Yes.
That's why you're separated.
Yes.
And how often do you have contact with him?
At the moment, while he's in the training, we get a phone call every couple weeks, like every 2-3 weeks. And then whenever they're able to write letters. So I've been getting letters from him like once a week, every 10 days around there. So not a lot of like actual contact.
Okay. And as of now, you've gotten that one letter 3 weeks later where he actually admitted something.
Yes.
And other than that, he doesn't really talk about it or bring it up.
He did on this we actually just heard a phone call that we got this last Saturday, and he did initiate and talk about, he was trying to be kind of quiet because there's still people around, and I was around our kids and stuff like that. And so he wasn't, I don't feel like he was being vague because he was trying to hide anything or mask anything, but more just to protect, like, I don't know how to explain it, but he did bring it up.
I understand.
Yeah, he did bring it up. Basically, it was just like, this is something I want to talk about when I'm out, when we have time. And he mentioned that, he's been going to his church services while he's there, and did go talk to one of the chaplains about this, and was able to get some good advice about what to do after. So he did mention that he wants to talk about it in person and dive deeper, and he would like to start counseling both individually and as a couple.
Okay.
But we couldn't get into anything deeper than that.
Okay.
Just for privacy's sake.
Hannah, I just want to start before we get into any like advice type stuff and just acknowledge that I see you, and that when you have your world kind of blown apart like this, it's hard to make up from down, and it takes a little while to get your feet planted again. And so I just want you to know that I see that, and that's kind of the stage that I see you in right now, which is totally normal.
Thank you.
So,
Tyler, can I just add to that? Like, young kids and pregnant, and like you had not planned on this, like Dylan, right? Like, no. You just want a happy family, and like, it's a really scary time of life to have things blowing up a little bit. And I just want to acknowledge that too. Like, your sadness, your fears, your pain is all there for a reason, and really valid.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, let's I mean, you're here asking questions, which is good. I kind of feel like we could give quick answers to your questions, but I don't think we'd be doing you this service to just give you the answers to the question, because there's kind of a process that typily works for people.
Tyler wants to treat you like he's a therapist.
What?
Tyler's acting like a therapist.
I know it's such a loaded question that is going to take so many layers, but I'm like, just give me a framework to go on.
It's better if you figure it out for yourself, but we're going to help you get there. This is what Tyler's saying.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, let's just break this down really quickly for a second with what we're hearing, Brannon, because this is something that, number one, Hannah needs to leave this call knowing that she's absolutely not alone, and that a lot of people experience something very similar. So you're not alone.
For sure.
You're not crazy. There is a way through this. There are principles that can help with the healing and the process that you're now engaged in, even though it's not your fault. And we'll talk about some of those things, but I just want to acknowledge that this will be a process. This isn't going to be a quick answer type of a thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, let's jump into it. So basically, there's a couple things right off the bat. You're saying that you feel and felt through the course of your marriage that even though there was some of this hiding, that over the course of your marriage, you felt like you feel like he's trying to move more towards honesty, even though it's coming in increments of disclosure. Is that right?
Yeah. And yeah, definitely. Like, it's when he first told me that first night that there was more and that he was going to tell me in a letter, I was like, oh my gosh, for the last 2 years, completely fake and wasted. But over, the last couple of weeks, last month that I've had, I'm like, no, there's just some obvious stuff that my husband's going to have to deal with that I can't force him to deal with or work through. All I can do is focus on me. So I'm like, what can I do to try and make it a little bit maybe safer for him, but also still keeping it safe for me, if that makes sense?
Mm-hmm. I guess that's one of the first questions I'm asking is that you said you're choosing to stay, and the reason you're choosing to stay is because you feel like he genuinely is willing to confront those issues that you're talking about that are his to confront.
I do, yeah.
What, going along with that, what Tyler just said, what is the actual issue?
Like, yeah, what do you mean? What do you mean?
I knew that would confuse you, right? So like, you look at this and it's like, well, the issue is that he's not being faithful. but there's a pattern happening. In 6 years in marriage, and you've already had a couple of instances. And so, the issue, he's being unfaithful, but why? And I think it's important for you to look at that for a couple reasons. One, to understand, and I know this cannot feel very validating sometimes to your pain, but to understand that this is not about you. That him doing this is not about you. The second thing is to understand, why is he doing this? He's searching for something. He's trying to find something, and he'll continue to search for that thing unless he actually knows how to get it. And so to understand that there's some wounds, there's some shame, there's some brokenness inside of him that's pushing him to these behaviors to try to get validation, acceptance, wanting to be desirable from women. That it's showing that there's a void there. So do you understand what I'm saying, Hannah?
Yeah, like it's not something that I've done or I could do differently, essentially. Like he has to do work himself too, in order for us both to work out.
Yes,
is what you're saying.
And what Tyler was saying is, like, you're choosing to stay because you're seeing that he might be willing to do some of that work.
I do think so. It's so hard to explain, like, in such a short call. Again, like you said, this is just the kind of the beginning, and we will be, after this, moving forward, hopefully in a good, positive way. But I do know that he doesn't want to be this way, even if it's not him and I together. I do think that he doesn't want to be a man that's dishonest or without integrity. But
okay, good.
So that's really important as a stepping stone, because too often what will end up happening, and this is where Brannon was going with you, I think, Hannah, is that a partner who's looking to try to find safety and be able to breathe again and plant her feet again, she will focus on just the behavior itself of him acting out. Mm-hmm. She will be the one to be like, okay, well, I'm going to check your phone every day, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that to make sure you don't act out. But then the real issue never actually gets addressed. And it's better to stay, if you're going to stay with a man who of his own fruition not only starts to set proper boundaries for himself and say, you know what, I got issues with the way that I deal with women at work, mm-hmm. and I better figure out how to set some different limits and boundaries. That's the logistical start, but the emotional start is, man, I got issues. I got to figure out why I'm trying to fill whatever the void is inside through these other women, and I've got to figure out how to get my integrity back up too. So I'm going to be the one to set some appointments and get myself started on a recovery process, not just to stop this behavior, but to understand what's pushing it.
Yes.
And if you're married to a man that's doing those things, that will feel much safer than being married in a relationship where both of you guys are only focusing on, did you text that girl today? Did you do this? Like, that's going to be like, that's going to be horrible for both of you guys. And it won't ever get to the actual roots of what real recovery would be. Mm-hmm. And so if you're the one dictating his recovery towards staying sober and not having it happen again, you're not creating safety for yourself or for him.
Yeah.
Whereas if he's the one going, man, I got a problem and I'm going to do this and this and this, and I'm going to get to work on it, then all of a sudden you can make the choice you're making to stay with a little bit more confidence.
To me, it was a good sign on the phone when he's the one that brought it up, because I wasn't going to bring it up on the phone at all. Again, just privacy reasons, but he's the one that brought it up and, talked about some of the things he's wanting to do. And right now it's just kind of a waiting game until he's out and has a little bit more freedom to be able to make some phone calls and start seeing someone and things like that. And that did make me feel a little bit better. I guess I'd love some ideas on what I can do if it's slow going healing, or just kind of how I can remain secure in myself regardless of what he does, if that makes sense. I do see him doing these things, but I'd also like to become more self-confident. I don't know if I'm making sense with what I'm asking. It's really hard to verbalize.
You're asking the perfect question.
Yeah, you're asking the question we want you to ask.
Yeah.
That's a great question. And I want to answer that. I do want a little side note, like Tyler and I have seen a lot of botched disclosures, just like not well done disclosures that cause more harm. Your husband did a pretty good job at botching the disclosure.
He botched. He's still in the botch. Like it's still wide open.
Like that's about as bad as it gets. Of I'm going to write you a letter that you have to wait 3 weeks for.
And then even in the letter, I'm not really going to be fully clear and crystal clear about it. So I'll talk about it later too.
So there is something, but I'm too scared to say it, but I'll let you know. And it just puts you in that state of stress. And that's so unfair, especially when you're pregnant. Like,
and it's been a stressful pregnancy too. So it's like he was not the smartest how he did this.
Did not. And I think that goes to show that if his heart's in a place of wanting healing, you guys do need help. You need some guidance from good therapists who know how to walk you through this process. And there's a process of healing. And if he understand a couple of principles, he probably would not be going about it the way that he is. He's just, his protective parts are running the show, and he's just trying to, not hurt you by hurting you a lot.
Even worse.
But I want to get back to your question, because your question is awesome. What do I do for myself because the reality is he's out of your control in so many ways.
Yeah.
Not all the ways, but you and your healing is in your control. And if that's the case, then what can you do to set up a plan in order to help you gain some security, trust your intuition, feel some peace, moving forward? So, Tyler, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'm writing down some notes here about, I just got done earlier saying this is going to be a process, but I was writing down the formula of where I would start if I was in your shoes. So the first place that I would start is just giving yourself permission, and then going to work on figuring out how to get yourself grounded every time you start to have those big waves of emotion come up. Because I imagine you're tumbling through lots of different places where a lot of times you probably feel out of control emotionally. Is that true?
Oh yeah, especially after my kids are in bed.
Yeah. Okay. So just acknowledging that those feelings are going to be there, and then developing some grounding tools so that you can stay in those space less is going to be one big thing that you have control over, that you can work on. And this is talking your own physiology, things like mindfulness work, box breathing, grounding techniques, things like that will be really important. And then the next place that I think, and this is something you're already starting to do, is getting pretty clear for yourself on getting some education about what you're dealing with and what the process starts to look like and what the principles are that will be helpful for you to work through this. So education. So grounding and education are a couple of things. I've got several other things written down, but I'll let Brannon step into. But those are the first two that I would say are a good start that you have control over.
Yeah. Tyler, I can tell you've been doing this for a while. So, I think something to consider, Hannah, first and foremost, is that this is now a big part of your life. Recovery is now an awesome thing that's going to bless you and help your life. And this is not something that, we can give you a magic pill and the pain goes away and you and your husband are totally happy. This will push you guys to have a relationship built on real trust. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's a blessing if you allow it to be. So the first thing is really coming to some acceptance of it, of what's going on. Right. And that can be hard. Like the money that needs to be spent on therapy, the time, like you don't have much time right now to go to some 12-step groups or S&On or whatever. But to say, this is a priority, this is important, I'm really going to get educated here. And I loved the two things Tyler just said. The grounding, like you got to start to regulate your emotions and to just be connected to, I believe it's Mother Earth, the divine feminine, and like really getting some nurturing there and some love there for all the things you're going through. But then the second thing Tyler said is the education.
It's interesting that word is called grounding, Brannon. When you think about that, like when lightning strikes, what does lightning do? It finds its fastest way to ground.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about that, there's something symbolic about being grounded to the earth, having your feet planted again on the ground, because it feels like you get the rug pulled out from underneath you. So it's an interesting concept there.
You know, Tyler, I mean, we talk about this all the time, but I cold plunge every day because it's my grounding. I get in that water in the river, sitting on a rock every day, and all the worries and stress or whatever, it's a moment where I get to just take, well, it's like 15 minutes in the summer and it's 7 in the winter. But it's that grounding, right? So the other thing, Hannah, one of your worst enemies is isolation.
Yeah.
All right.
To say the least.
Yeah. Who knows about this? Like, who do you rely on?
Pretty much nobody.
Yeah.
I have one friend in a different state that knows. But other than that, like, my family is not a safe place to share this. So I will not be sharing with my family. Same with his. So there's not really anyone around.
Yeah. It's time to build a community, and you're going to have to be willing to step into that. It's vulnerable. You can use the people in your life who are awesome, but if they're not, don't. But there are opportunities and places where you can have full support with friends all around you who love you and help you, and you're not alone in this. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And my worry is always that if I open up, that people won't really hear like what I'm thinking or feeling with it, and that their advice will be just leave, because I feel like that's what the advice is always. Once a cheater, always a cheater, just leave. But it's so much more complicated and nuanced than that. And that's just not what I feel like I can handle hearing at the moment.
Yeah, that's really common. Brannon and we talk a lot about who's the right team members, and there's a few things that we kind of go through. I won't go in great depth here, but a good team member is a person who's willing to learn about what you're going through so they can speak your language. They will keep your confidences, meaning they're not going to share it with anybody else. Mm-hmm. They will balance empathy while also pushing you to change. So they'll try to see your pain, but they'll also not want you to stay stuck there. And then the last one is that they'll value you needing to make your own choices. Mm-hmm. And so if you kind of look at your own relationships right now and nobody lines up there, then what Brannon's saying is that then that's when you have a little bit of extra work to go put yourself into the arena to meet people there. Your therapist is going to be someone like that. Mm-hmm. Potentially, if you do group therapy, that could be part of it. A good group of women who are also working the same kinds of principles because they're already doing the learning. They already understand confidentiality. They also know they're making their own choices, so they should respect that for you. So then they just learn how to balance empathy and push for change with each other. 12-step groups, things like that, where you can kind of start filtering through, but you've got to put yourself in the game to meet a few people and build a team, because the team is so essential. And it's in your case, especially because you truly are alone a lot of the time, you're going to need that team aspect. For sure.
And you can find the man haters groups out there. You can find those. And
once a cheater, always a cheater. There's plenty of those groups.
Yeah. Listen to BTR. Actually, don't, please.
Don't.
Not endorsing.
I'm not endorsing that. But like you can find those places if, and so like if you go to an S&On group and you just feel like they're groveling and then don't give up on a group. Like, I know Tyler's groups, the women he has in there, like they are accountable for their own recovery, and they're moving forward, and they're empowered, and they support each other to do that. And Tyler's there, and helping them, guiding them, validating the pain, but also pushing them to move forward. And so you can find places like that where it's okay to be angry, sad, whatever, but also like take ownership for your recovery. So yeah, I mean, we have resources, Hannah. There's S&On groups. I'm sure there's some good therapists where you're at with some groups going on as well. But don't be shy to go make it happen. When you get off this call today, there's going to be this voice that's going to be like, well, but it's expensive, or I don't have time for it, or
it's not really my issue, it's his. Like,
yeah.
Oh no, I need the therapy too.
Okay, good, Hannah.
No, and that kind of leads in. So as we're making kind of next steps, like the stepping stones, just for where you're currently at to create some safety for yourself. We've got develop some grounding, which your therapist can help with too.
Is grounding like literally outside?
It could be. I'm glad you asked that. What I'm really saying is
That might sound dumb, but
getting your feet planted emotionally as much as possible, and knowing that you can trust yourself to do that when the waves come.
Okay.
So things like, have you ever done anything like box breathing?
No.
Box breathing is simple. It's where you start to feel like you're getting overwhelmed and you're kind of getting taken out of reality again, and your brain's going to like, what if this and what if that? You pause and you actually just do like 2 or 3 minutes of this where you count in for any count you want, 4 to 6. So breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, hold for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, breathe out for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hold for 4. So you're basically just making a box with your breath. But what you're doing now is that something is happening naturally now has to be something done intentionally, and it brings you into the here and now. And it also helps your body regulate itself and bring the heart rate back down, get you back to being in your own body, in the own moment that you're at, physically seeing yourself planted in this moment rather than your brain spinning off into other places. That's an example of grounding. Or going for a walk in nature would be a good way to get grounded, where you're kind of just paying attention to the things that you're experiencing in nature or at the park, or anything that brings you back to where your heart and your body and your mind are all kind of in the same moment together.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I kind of do something similar to the breathing. I do it with my children too, so I'm glad to know I was just naturally.
Yeah, you probably have some natural skills there, which is great. So yes, you go ahead, Brannon.
You can ground in any way, like Tyler's saying, like anything. Just it's journaling, prayer, just breath work, whatever. Even your kids are kind of both. They can unground you, but also like they
Bring
can, just looking at their smile and their beauty and watching them play, like, can really ground you as well. So just any intentional time when you're in the present moment, that's grounding yourself.
Okay, perfect.
So we have grounding, the ability to trust yourself, to know you can ground yourself. You won't stay grounded the whole time in this process, but you'll know how to get back to it. Education, continued education on what you're dealing with and what the principles are to move forward. Building a team, having some people, and if you even just get 2 or 3 people in your corner that you can trust to just help you process things as you make your choices, that becomes really valuable. And then the next one, I've got 2 more. The next one is getting in the habit of developing healthy self-care, or trying to make sure that you're cultivating your heart and filling your emotional tank on a regular basis. So if you don't take care of yourself, the emotions that you're experiencing drain all of your resources emotionally, and the emotions get bigger and worse. So you have to be putting something else in the tank. And that's going to be your, whatever works for you, reading a good book, taking a hot bath, going to the gym, connecting with other people, connecting to God, hobbies, things like that, which I know is hard when you're a mom of 2 and you're pregnant with your 3rd and you're by yourself. That one feels overwhelming to a lot of people that we work with, but it's so important because it helps the overall emotional well-being, and it helps the brain then stay online to make good decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Hannah, him being gone is both a blessing and a curse. Let me explain. So, like, you're in a unique situation where there needs some repair work needs to be done in terms of the safety of the relationship. But one thing like Tyler and I will do when we work with a couple is get them to separate from each other in terms of recovery and be able to have their own individual recovery plan first and foremost. And then they start to pay attention to what's going on with the other person's recovery, but they're working their own recovery first.
Mm-hmm.
So it sucks that he's gone, that you can't quite get a read on whether he's safe or not, or that the truth is he could be doing whatever he's doing, right?
Yeah.
But you get to do whatever you want to do for your recovery, and you get to hyper focus on your recovery right now because the relationship is kind of not in the way.
Yeah, it's on pause, essentially.
Yeah, it's on pause, which is kind of a blessing in a way, if you look at it that way. Because if Hannah focuses on Hannah, and if you come back to your question, this time gives you opportunity. Now, he might come back to a very different wife, which is awesome because you'll be empowered. You'll be in a really good state emotionally. You'll be trusting your intuition. You'll have friends around you and support. You'll have a plan because you'll have that education. You'll be grounded, and he'll be like, "Whoa, like this is amazing, but holy crap, this is scary because she's like getting healthy here, right?" So, do you see the opportunity in front of you?
I do, and I think that's hearing you say that actually kind of just like really brought a lot of peace to my heart, because I think at first I was a little bit scared of that. Not really scared, but I realized that there's probably some like unhealthy attachment between the two of us, if that makes sense. And so like being forced to separate is gonna give me an opportunity to either spiral and get worse or get better, and then that could potentially encourage him to also get better if he wants that. Again, it's hard to gauge exactly what he needs. It sounds like that's what he wants based on the little bit of conversation we had briefly, but I hadn't really thought of it that way as a good thing. All I could think about for the longest time was, you suck for doing this the way that you did it. You could have waited. You could have told me 2 years ago. You could have waited until you got back. Why the hell did you choose the night before you leave?
Right. Yeah.
But now I'm like, again, still sucks, but it does sound like it was a good thing because it is forcing me to change some things.
both of those things.
Had the courage to.
Yeah, Hannah, both of those things you said are true at the same time. It does suck the way that he did those things, and what Brannon's saying is actually true, that a lot of couples that we work with, even if they're in the same proximity as each other, they choose to separate for a while just to try to make sure they get their own recoveries up and running. So you do have that opportunity, and you also have the blessing of not having him there all the time is that you don't always have that ongoing trigger that's right up in front of your face either. And so now you get a chance to just kind of take a look at yourself and go, okay, what do I want to put in place? What are the bones of what I want working by the time we actually do see each other on a day-to-day basis again? I'd add another thing that will start to happen as you do these other things. Okay, so again, I know this is repetitive, but you got your grounding, your education, your team, your self-care. The next one to me is making sure that you're doing the work it takes to identify your values and set boundaries accordingly. So you're going to start recognizing, I want to be in a relationship with someone who is honest, or I want to be in a relationship with someone who respects me, or I want to be able to make my own decisions, or I want to be treated with, kindness, or whatever those values are. You're going to start prioritizing the values based off of your current situation, and then you're going to start setting boundaries for yourself to follow through on to protect those values. And as you do that, you'll strengthen yourself from the inside out, which will actually help you to help continue facilitating change in your own life. And I love what you said. And if he chooses to want to come along, it will also invite change in him too.
Which is a process. Like what Tyler just said is absolutely true, but it's not a flip you switch.
It's messy process.
It's getting to know yourself. It's testing things out. But it's giving yourself that permission to actually step into those truths and not just allowing whatever's happening to you to happen.
I think one of my downfalls is that I'm just not patient, so I try to rush things, and I think that's what happened after the first emotional affair, and then again with the second one. I just wanted so badly to not have to go through that I rushed, and I'm like, hey, we're good. And you guys keep mentioning over and over, this is a process,
Mm-hmm.
and that's gonna be really hard for me. I've never set boundaries, I don't think, and I don't really know what that looks like, but I'm looking forward to learning and hopefully not rushing through it like I have in the past.
Yeah, one step at a time and one day at a time. And this isn't a quick fix that, Hannah has all of the cards that you can make this happen and get exactly what you want. It is a process.
I think that's maybe something on the broader part of this is coming back to this over and over again. What you just said is really important, that what recovery really facilitates is the development of a change in perspective. Mm-hmm. And the change in perspective goes from being a linear, straightforward, fix-it perspective more to an embracing of I'm learning as I go, growth-minded process. So now you don't have to get it right today. And when you get it wrong, you'll learn, you'll grow, you'll make changes, and you'll start to kind of get it right. But that's the process itself. So the people who do the best go, okay, I'm in this messy thing, and the messy thing is part of the journey that's going to mold me and shape me. And the people who kind of struggle, they set a date to be all better by, and then when they're not all better by that date,
that's me.
Oh, it's all is lost, right? So and this is what Brannon was saying earlier, it's really, really hard to shift over to that other perspective of the growth mindset, which is today is an opportunity to grow. And I won't get it all the way right, but I have permission to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. And I'm going to stay committed to the process. And when I do that, this is what's weird. Even in the midst of really crappy situations, there's a way to find peace and joy. Mm-hmm. People will describe this all the time. Like, I don't know why, because my partner's still cheating on me, but somehow I feel grounded and peaceful. Or, man, there's things still happening and it's really heavy on me, but I know I'll get through it. And right now I'm still feeling okay. Like, I'm still hopeful. It's hard to get there, and I can't even put it to words, but it is possible.
Mm-hmm. What forces you to be in a process is raising children. Yeah. You probably wish you could snap your fingers and you're at their graduation and you're not changing their diapers or whatever. But the reality is they're in the stage that they're in and they're growing where they're growing. Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, Hannah, one of my concerns for you is that what trimester are you in?
I'm in my third. I'm due a couple of weeks after he gets home, or I guess should say gets out of basic. Okay.
Have you ever struggled with postpartum or anything like that?
Yeah, with both of my kids.
Okay.
So I'm extra scared about that with this one. So that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. Okay. So you're, well, my mom calls
more layers.
Well, my mom calls it the combat years. You have 2 young kids and you're pregnant and you've struggled with postpartum. So,
and this baby has Down syndrome, so it's a whole other thing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a lot in my life right now that's just very heavy.
Yes.
Wow.
So Hannah, you need support. And the other thing to no matter what, to realize is you taking care of you is very important. To do whatever you need to do to find some space for yourself. Mm-hmm. And there's things like, well, once I get the kids to bed, I'm just gonna numb out on my phone until I fall asleep because I can't, once you get to bed, go do some good restful self-care. Like calm your mind down. Maybe you need to go to the gym and walk on a treadmill, and you don't want to do it, but you're going to drop your kids at the daycare, at the gym, because you need to walk on that treadmill that day.
Yeah.
But to give yourself permission, you are being a good mom and a good parent by modeling to your kids a badass who can heal, who will take care of herself, with all the things that you have going on. And you got some days ahead that are going to be stressful and hard, right?
Just a few.
Yeah.
Hannah, I don't often do this, but I don't know if you're open to it or not, but I would love if you'd be willing. I have an online group that's just for people all over the country that don't meet in person. I have an online group that I would love to invite you to for the first 3 months at no charge, if you'd be willing to come consistently.
I would love that. Sorry. Yeah, I would be very grateful for that.
Okay. When we hang up the call today, I want to make sure I have all of your information. We'll get it taken care of. But
Hannah, I've never heard Tyler offer that.
No, I really appreciate that.
I think you need it. I think you need instant support, and I know that the group that I have that I'm thinking of will be the kind of support that you need. So make sure we don't hang up too soon, and I'll make sure I've got your information. We'll get you set up. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And the reason he offered that, I'll speak for Tyler, but it's because we can feel your heart, and we can tell that you want to heal and you want to do this right, but we also can feel your pain. And hang in there. It's going to get better one day at a time, and you don't have to do this on your own. Okay, I hope you realize that. There's good people out there who can support you through this process, and you'll be able to look back and say, "Oh, I understand why. I see what God was doing here." As long as you're willing to engage in it. So I just want to thank you for coming on today.
Thank you guys for having me. I've got some great things to go start reading about and looking up, and I really, really appreciate you guys taking the time.
You bet, Hannah. We appreciate you bringing yourself, your heart and your soul, and a really messy, hard process that you're in. You don't realize this, but you're getting help from us, hopefully, but you're also helping a lot of people by having shown up today. So thank you for your willingness to come on. We're just about out of time. Is there anything else on your heart, Hannah, that needs to be spoken today?
No, like I said, I think I've got a good little starting point until I can get into my own personal therapist.
Okay, great. Well, good. Well, thank you. And thank you to our listeners for being here. Some of you guys may relate to where Hannah's at right now. Some of you have been there before, a long time ago. Some of you might be there right now. Either way, there is hope here. There is a process, and there are powers bigger than ourselves who are here to help that process too. So thank you for being here. And until next time, you guys, keep on keeping on.